What's up, ladies and gents? Century your host. I've got another huge update this time for STARFIELD. Again, this is going to be very spoiler filled. It's light spoilers, it's gameplay spoilers, so we're not spoiling anything that has to do with the story or any of that. It's just going to be how you actually just play the game, so just regular basic kind of stuff in the game that hasn't been shown. So if you want to see this, obviously continue to watch. If not, then I definitely recommend you skipping this video, because we're talking about new information that hasn't been fully put out there, kind of from reputable sources. Obviously, a lot of people have the games in their hands, so they've kind of have explained what's been going on, what they've seen throughout their gameplay and whatnot, and I'm here to kind of explain some of that. But again, these are very light-ish type of spoilers, nothing story related, so obviously that's why I'm doing this video, because I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. But there's been so many very tough things that I'm going to talk about here that it's going to get some people upset. It's going to get some people like, what's the big deal? This is just one of those controversial things that I think is going to be very interesting, and I would really like to know what you guys think of this in the comments below. So let's go ahead and begin. Alright, first thing up is we've got some new information on gameplay as far as how you kind of maneuver around the planets, how you go from place to place on a planet, as well as in space, travel, that type of thing. So first of all, thank you for all the great feedback that you gave me on my previous video. I won't do any funny voices this time. I was just trying to make it fun and exciting, because, you know, it's pretty much the same boring gameplay in the background as we're kind of discussing what's going on. But we have a lot of information to get to, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. So first of all, the big news today is essentially how you move and where you can go on the planets, right? So as far as we knew, you could, and this was pretty much from all of the footage that we've seen over the past few years, you could land on a planet. You can pick a site from the planet. Some planets will have more kind of landing locations than others. Let's say if there's a huge city on one of the planets, or there's kind of like a you know, other different like little mining stations or whatever on the planets, you'd be able to pick from those. However, you can also pick other locations for you to land on, so you can pick essentially anywhere you want on the planet itself. However, and this is the big thing that I think a lot of people might not be happy with, although I will say that this is not a big deal, and and most people are going about this all wrong. It's all over the internet today, so I wanted to get into it. When you are traveling around, okay, you cannot, let's say you land on the planet, you cannot walk from your ship to the other side of the planet. This should be a no freaking brainer, okay? Why on earth would a game that is centered around so much story, have a lot of different places to travel to, have to be made in such a way, because this is an RPG, this is not a simulation style game? How on earth did people think that you are going to be able to walk around from one side of the planet to the other in this type of game? A lot of people bring up the reference of No Man's Sky. Okay, that's a great reference to bring up, and let me tell you why that doesn't hold water. No Man's Sky is technically a simulation style game. It is a game where they procedurally generated everything you see. Like, everything you see is procedurally generated, meaning that you can go land on a planet, walk from one side to the other, it's all generated, and that's it. There are no voiceovers, okay? There is a story, but it's mostly a text-based type of story, and it's a very simplistic type of story. The main thing you're doing in No Man's Sky is just a repeated process of gathering resources, taking those resources, trying to make it further into the galaxy, gather more resources so that you can make it further into the galaxy, gather more resources. Then it builds everything else around that, you know. You've got ships that you can get and all that other type of stuff, but that is a completely different type of game. Now let's look at Star Citizen. Star Citizen is an MMO open sandbox, right? There's no story in it. Now, if you want to talk about the Squadron 42, then yes, that's why they've made a separate thing on that. So everyone's complaining, oh my gosh, it's 30 frames per second on console, and you can't walk from one side of the planet to the other? There's a reason for that. there's more than just a reason. It's smart as hell on the developers to do this. Why on earth would the developers make that type of game? It is not that type of game. That is a simulation type of game. You can get that experience on No Man's Sky. You can get that experience on Star Citizen. You're not meant to get that type of experience in Starfield. It has a huge story. It has a lot of dialogue. It has a lot of things that add on that just make it impossible. So what we're getting here is what they're calling kind of like tiles, all right? Little square kilometers of area that you're going to be able to explore when you land. However, from what everyone is saying that has played it so far is that it takes 30 to 40 minutes to travel from when you land to the zone, to the end zone, and then you're going to get like a screen that'll say you can't go any further. However, you can fast travel anywhere else you want on this planet. So what that means is every time it loads into the planet where you've picked you want to go, you're essentially it's loading in that procedural area of whatever zone that you're at, and then it's going to give you 30 to 40 minutes. I'm talking minutes. So that means if you walked in one direction from where you started, it will take 30 to 40 minutes before you hit the zone where you won't be able to go. Technically, an invisible wall. And then you'll be greeted with a screen that says you can't go any further. You're going to have to fast travel or something like that. So, a lot of people are up in arms about this, but I don't really understand why this is such a big deal, because to me, this makes the most sense. They're saving resources. I mean, there's 1,000 planets. There's so much dialogue. All these planets have story-related content on them. And so it doesn't make sense for it to act like this. This is a game where they want you as the player to be able to get from point A to point B in as fast as you want. So that's how this is working. You have multiple ways of fast traveling in this game when you're on a planet. You can literally this can be considered a little immersive breaking, but you can literally be anywhere you want on the planet that you're walking, and then you can hit a button, go to the map, and then fast travel to another location. Right there. You don't even have to have your ship. This is done because a lot of gamers today don't have the, how do you say it? They don't have the patience for this style of gameplay, for you to have to go back to your ship. Now you can do this. You can literally go back to your ship, get back in there, bring up your map again, go fast forward, take your ship with you, and then keep continuing to do what you want to do and search around whatever you want to search. You can do that, and that's what I'm going to do because I love that. I love the aspect of if I want to go somewhere else, I need to get back on my ship, take off, go somewhere else like that. But a lot of people, they don't want that. They want to have an experience that they can just dive right into, right? So again, they're trying to appease as many people as possible to get as many people playing this game as possible. So only people that are hating and expect this game to be this simulation style game, which it's never said it was a simulation style game. There's a curated story in this. It's an RPG, and you can also branch out and do the different factions. There's so many hours of faction missions. There's so many hours of regular story missions, main missions, and just other things that you can do in the game. But they want it to be as quick as possible for you to get in and get out of and have a good time, right? So it makes the most sense for this to be this way. So again, the biggest problem a lot of people are having, and I think it's just PS5 fanboys mostly. I'm a lover of gamers. I'm not one of those fanboys. I like all consoles and systems. This is not something, if PlayStation had this, I would understand exactly the same way. It's just a way for everyone to be able to know where they are, to do what they got to do, and get you into the action as quickly as possible. So don't go into this game thinking I'm going to immerse myself so much and just walk from one end of the planet to the other. I mean, only a few selected people are actually going to do that. I've never even done it in Star Citizen, and I've played like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in Star Citizen, and I don't want to do it. I love knowing that it's there, but I don't want to do it. And it doesn't make sense for it to be in this game. So that's like one of the biggest things that everyone is talking about right now, is the fact that traveling on that system is going to be the way it is. It's like cut into little tiles. So essentially what that means is the cities, when you land on specific cities, they're going to be its own tile, and there will be a surrounded area outside of the city that you'll be able to travel to. You won't be able to go from when you're in the city and just keep going until your heart's content outside of the city, and keep going and keep going and keep going. Then you'll have to fast travel to a new location, and then you'll have a new kind of area that you'll be able to explore. That's 30 to 40 minutes wide in each area. Essentially, every single tile, if you want to call it that, is a Skyrim-based tile. So 1,000 planets with 30 to 40 minutes in either direction that you're able to walk and get caught up in. And there's going to be random things that you're going to be able to find out there. There's caves, there's derelict ships that may have crashed, there's people about, you can watch people land, there's going to be things happening because the game is a single player, so they can tailor all of that to you, right? So they can create instead of it just being like randomly stuff happen, they can really tailor things. They know that, okay, the players in this situation, why don't we throw this at them and have them, see how they handle it. Think about that. All right. So don't let that upset you. The next thing I want to talk about is, so far, some people are saying that in the early parts of the game, there's not a lot about being in space. Okay. And that was one of my problems I was thinking was going to happen. I'm sure in the beginning, it's probably going to be that way. But once you get into the game a little bit more, then there's going to be more things for you to do. So what the person said was that they were, they had items that they could go to, but they were pretty much caught up in the story and wanting to do the story, so they weren't in their ship that much, right? So you can expect in your first few hours of the game to probably be on planet a lot, right? Because you're learning the mechanics, you're learning whatever the missions are doing. I don't know what you all are planning on doing while you're there, but if you're following the mission, you're most likely going to be in the very beginning of the game on different planets a lot, all right? So keep that in mind. As well, there's been kind of iffy things about if you're going to be able to travel from, let's say you're on a planet or you're right above a planet and then you want to go to that moon, if you can just go to that moon, like just go to it, or do you have to fast travel to it? So far, it seems to be that you're going to have to fast travel to that moon. That every time you come into a location, you can go around inside that location. But just like the planets, if you want to go to a moon that's a little bit further away, you're going to have to fast travel to that planet, and you're going to have to use your jump drive and all that. So it's not like Star Citizen where you can use your quantum to go in between planets and you get to see everything going around you as the planets are moving by. At least that is what people are saying. Now, all of the stuff and information that's coming out, you have to take with a grain of salt, obviously, because people are not that far into the game, the ones that are giving out this information. So we don't know if that's going to change in any way, shape, or form. The next thing is we saw some information about the planet Earth, Mars. And again, this is a spoiler if you don't want to know. So this is your chance to get off the video. Thanks for watching if you don't want to know about this. But it seems, and we've pretty much speculated this when we saw one of the first gameplay trailers of the game, was the arches there. You saw that. Well, it seems like Earth is a desolate planet. Something has happened. It's pretty much all sand and desert. There's probably going to be landmarks that you're going to be able to see here and there, which will be fun to kind of explore the planet. But for the most part, there are no cities. There might be settlements and things like that, but it's a desolated kind of desert planet. So that's another big thing that kind of information that is out there. So next up, most people are talking how there is not that many bugs. Like, they haven't really seen any bugs at all. People have said that this game is polished, and this is going to be a first for Bethesda because everyone knows that there's all kinds of bugs, especially, and in the early time as soon as it launches with Bethesda games. But this one, I guess everyone is saying, is the most polished Bethesda game they've seen pretty much ever. So that is another really, really big thing. All right. So there's that. So you're going to be able to travel on Mars. There's going to be all different. I got to see a little bit of some screenshots of, going to Mars, going to Earth, going to the moon, our moon, and stuff like that. And it's the same thing. Everywhere you go, there's always going to be a few places on the map that are predetermined that you can travel, but then you can select your own and then jump in there and then find out whatever you want to do on there. But they've really, really made it easy for you to go wherever you want. It's super fast. You can do it from just clicking a button. So being able to fast travel in this game is going to be very, very easy. I'm not going to use it in that sense, but for people that want to get to one location to the next and they don't care about the time it takes to go back to your ship or anything like that, then that's what they're going to do. I, for one, do like making it feel as real as possible, even though I know that this game is not really set up that way. And I don't think it's really that big of a deal. It's just giving the players a chance to get to the action and get to what's going to make them have the most fun, and games should be fun. One of the biggest things that I almost dislike about Star Citizen is how long it takes to travel from one area to another. Like, I love realism, but you know, I don't want to spend 20 minutes, which sometimes it takes 20 minutes to travel from one area in Star Citizen to the area that's on the opposite side of the map. 20 minutes. And I don't like waiting 20 minutes. I mean, what am I going to do? I mean, there's only so much you can do on your ship. So the fact that they've thought about that and they try to give you a better, just more action, straight to the action. And I think that is one of the things that's really, really good. So another thing is, another kind of spoiler, but we've all seen this. We saw it in the direct, was at the end of the direct, they showed off that you're going to get some powers. And some of those powers are going to make you very, very strong. You can even turn invisible. I know that's so weird to say, but there's going to be obviously something that explains it. So if you're looking for that stealth type of gameplay, I'm super excited now that I even know this, that you're going to literally be able to turn invisible and your stealth is going to be off the chain. That is freaking cool to me. The next thing is, there are difficulty levels to choose from. You can choose from very easy, normal, hard, and very hard. So you're going to be able to go into the game and have the experience catered to what you want. I'm probably going to play this game, I would say, on hard, depending on how it feels at the beginning. Some people did say that when they had it on normal, that it just felt way too easy, that felt they were too overpowered. So we're probably going to put it on hard to give ourselves a little bit of a challenge. If we need to bring it down or bring it up, you know, we can do that in the middle of it as well. So I'm not saying go out there and look for this information or whatever. I just want to give you the new news that comes out of the game. Obviously, I am not and will never spoil anything spoiler related for story, because story is very, very important, and I've only kind of showed off said things that, for one, was already in the trailer of the direct, which was, again, you know, you're going to get powers and stuff like that. So, but what are you excited for? Have you heard this information? What do you think of it? Is this something that deters you? There's a lot of people out there right now that are essentially saying this game sucks because it's tiled based, and every time you go into an area, it generates it, and it's not, you know, it's not seamless and all that kind of stuff. Man, get out of here. This game is not for you then, right? Go play Star Citizen. That's what you want. If that's what you want, go play that. Or maybe you're just doing it to troll because you're upset that it's not on your PS5. Well, listen, I am still super excited for this game. There are so much out there that I have been, like, seriously, I've made 3 videos here in like the day and a half for freaking Starfield, and I haven't made any videos over my entire time that Starfield's been out, because I am really revved up. I am excited to go, and I hope you are all as well. So make sure you tune in at 8 p.m. That's right, 8 p.m. on the 31st of August, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be streaming the game from that point, and we will be discovering and checking out everything. Now, as more information comes out, I'll update you guys with stuff. Again, always put the spoilers in there to make sure you can watch or not. That is completely up to you. Again, I'm not going to put anything in here that I think ruins the experience of the game. I just want to make it easier for you guys to have a better understanding of what this game is when you're going into it for the first time. So, love you all. Take care of yourselves. And of course, I will see you on the next one. Peace.